Hey, I just got discharged from the hospital. I'm currently about to go for a 2-hour long walk to get to where I need to go. But basically, I went and I donated plasma. They had issues putting the needle in. At a couple different points, they were wiggling the needle around. Sorry. Yeah, they were wiggling it around. They pulled it out at one point, put it back in, and they were still having issues. Eventually, they thought they had it in. It turns out no. Which, after I had an ultrasound, they figured out why they were having issues. The vein. Sorry, my trash fell in my pocket. But the vein that they put it in starts off big and thick, but apparently as it goes up, it gets very, very thin. They wouldn't have known this. They couldn't see it. So that was why that apparently it went through. The thing is, while I was donating my plasma on my right arm, you have to give some plasma and blood and stuff, and then you'll receive some of it back, blood-wise. Well, while I was receiving it back, I didn't realize it at first, but there was a bit of a weird pressure, and I look over. Blood was gushing out of where the needle was, like the hole. It was gushing out of my arm. And also my arm was swelling up above it, which is where the needle ends, you know. Turns out, yeah, it was because it went through the vein and was having it basically exit into my body and not the vein itself. So what they did was they gave me an ice pack, they wrapped my arm up, and then we went and did my left arm. Left arm had no problems at all. My left arm never has any problems, to be honest. The only reason why I tried for my right arm today was because every now and again I try to give my left arm a break. And today was just a day that I decided to give my left arm a break. Obviously, you know, bad idea, but yeah. Anyways, after I was done donating plasma, I went to the bus stop, getting ready to go and take the bus. While I was waiting, out of nowhere, my vision went blurry. I started feeling dizzy. All the audio, all the sound was muffled far away. And I was getting ready to pass out, or I was struggling to keep myself from passing out. As soon as this happened, I was struggling to grab my phone, and I ended up calling for somebody. And basically, while that was all going on, I also had a cold sweat. I forgot to mention that. But there was a lot of pressure on my arm, my chest, my arm. So I mentioned that to the doctors as well. That's why they did an EKG, apparently. It was to check for make sure there was nothing wrong with my heart. But yeah, I got to the hospital. I went in. There weren't very many people there. I think there was only 2 other people, patient-wise. They did an ultrasound on my arm, which is not something I was expecting, but that's how they found out about the vein and how it starts off big, but as it goes up, it gets, small. And they, again, the people at the plasma center wouldn't have known about this. So I don't blame them for the situation. I am upset that the person wiggled the shit around, because apparently they damaged my muscles by doing that. And according to him, that was very unprofessional of the person. But again, I'm not mad at the person for it. But regardless, they did that. Everything seemed fine with my veins and my arteries. They did the EKG, which is basically a thing that lets them look at my electrical signals throughout my body, things for like my heart. It was all good. They tried to get some blood, and they were having issues at first to get blood because they had to do a blood test. But they were having problems doing that because apparently, I just realized I'm going the wrong way. I was supposed to go left, not right. It's too late, whatever. But they went and checked my blood eventually after 20 minutes of struggling, because apparently when they tried putting it in through the back of my hand, they were having problems because apparently the vein kept moving around. It kept rolling, and so they couldn't get that. Then they tried doing it on the back of my right hand. They couldn't do it there either. And he was about to go and get, I forgot what they were called, but like a optometrist, I don't fucking remember what it's called, but a specialist to have them come in. But while he was waiting for them, we ended up trying for my left arm close to where I usually donate, and he found a vein that they don't normally go and pull plasma from. It was one to the right, and we went for that one, and it worked. Once he did that, no issues, thankfully, so that worked out. This shit didn't happen in the order I'm referring to. If I remember right, I think it was the ultrasound, then it was the blood drawn, and then it was the EKG afterwards. So technically that was the order that things happened, but whatever. I'm trying to figure out where the fuck I'm going. I have no idea how to get to where I'm going. Sorry. But yeah, that all happened. They were going to give me a sack lunch to have something to eat, but then they realized they didn't have any, and they didn't really give me much of anything. I ended up having to go to the vending machine to get something to eat there. It says it was $2, but for some reason, even though it said $2, it made me pay $3.50, which is ridiculous, but whatever. I ended up using the money I donated, or I got from donating plasma. I used that money to get something to eat. So pretty much the thing that put me in the hospital is the thing that I'm, using to, get something to eat as I'm leaving the hospital. Which is why, as I mentioned earlier, I'm picking up my trash. It was the wrapper from the thing that I got from the vending machine. I tried getting a drink, but for some reason, every time I tried to get a drink, it was having an error, so I never got a drink. I only had the cookie thing that I ate. It was a small cookie. So when they checked my blood, one thing I asked them about was diabetes, because there was a couple of people worried about me having diabetes. It runs in my family. For one. Two, I do eat a lot of sugar, especially ice cream. But according to my doctor, no problems. In fact, according to him, my body apparently had adapted to the amount of junk food and sweets that I've eaten throughout my life. He says that I shouldn't have any problems keeping up with what I have been doing normally. My body is getting the nutrients it needs. He does recommend that I eat meat a bit more often because my protein levels, because I have mentioned this to him, protein levels apparently is low sometimes for donating plasma. And that's just a meat thing, peanut butter, blah, 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 stuff. So a lot of foods have protein. It's just, hell, even ice cream has protein in it. But apparently I don't eat enough protein related things close to when I donate plasma. And he says that was something I should be doing if I donate plasma again in the future, is to eat 1 to 2 days beforehand either a bunch of protein or at least eat a little bit of protein the day before, or even the day of, technically. So but he says that if I were to suddenly stop eating sugars, my body would react in a very negative way because of the fact that my body has gotten so used to it. Like, my body, as I said, has adapted to the amount of basically my sugar intake, my junk food intake. My body has adapted to it. And if I were to suddenly stop, it would cause a lot of problems for me. It says if I wanted to stop, I would have to do it gradually, very slowly. But if I don't have any problems eating the way I do, I don't see any reason to suddenly stop. That's just my opinion, but he even says that there isn't any reason for me to stop. Obviously, don't eat more than what I already do. Stay on the regular, eating habits that I already have. But yeah, so that's nice to know. No diabetes. And he says that if I continue eating how I normally do, the sugars, the junk food, then I shouldn't have any problems anytime soon. The only issue that... Oh, by the way, when I say junk food, I'm referring to, like, McDonald's, alright? Fast food, greasy food, alright? Yeah, also, desserts, ice cream. But when I say sugars, and then I also say junk food, when I say junk food, I'm more referring to, as I just said, fast food restaurants. So I weigh 165, which is the same that I weighed 2 days ago. I have not gained weight. I have not lost weight. So I think that I'm fine with being at 165. If I reach 170, I am going to worry. I am trying to lose weight, but I also don't want to lose weight by simply just not eating, because I have had that happen before, where I didn't eat for a very long period of time, and I lost a lot of weight as a result. Yeah, it was very unhealthy, obviously, so definitely not something I should make a habit of. But I will say this, if I wanted to do that, force myself to lose a lot of weight by not eating for a long period of time, at least I know how to do it, and I know that I can do it. It's not healthy, but it is possible, and I know that my body could take it. I know when the limits are, and I know what would happen if I did it. For those of you who don't know, because it has been a while, I think it's been like 2 years now, a little over 2 years actually, because it happened in February or March of a couple years ago. But basically what ended up happening was my ex-roommate was in the hospital, and for whatever reason, my card was with him. My card that I would get all my money. I don't remember what the reasoning behind it was. To be honest, I probably wouldn't even talk about why, even if I did know, because that's not really a subject that, I need to stay away from that kind of shit, but talking wise for YouTube, because I already got in trouble once before by talking about certain subjects about my past. But anyways, I was at the house, because we ended up renting a house, or rather I rented a house, and it was, bedrooms are on the top. We didn't know because they didn't tell us. They tried to keep it from us, but they had a lot of mice, they had a lot of cockroaches, and it was really, really bad. It wasn't something that I looked for or knew about, because I couldn't look for it, and to be honest, I've never had knowledge of that stuff to begin with, so I wouldn't have known what to look for anyways. But when we were there, or when I was there, I had things for the first, week, because he used my ex-roommate from Iowa, used my card to order me pizza, and so I spread it out for a while, because I wasn't going to be able to eat anything for a period of time. The plan was that after a week, which that pizza was supposed to last a week, but after a week, once I would have gotten my social security income, my SSI, that his grandmother would have taken me to get food, but then for whatever reason it didn't happen, and so for 3 weeks, almost a month, I didn't eat at all. The water wasn't running, so I had to go and get water from the neighbors at one point, and then they stopped letting me have water. So for a week and a half, maybe, I don't really know exactly how long it was, I didn't have anything to drink. If I took a shit, if I took a piss, I couldn't flush. So 3 weeks to a month I didn't eat at all. All right, and I lost a lot of weight as a result. And when I finally did get food, when I was finally able to get something to eat, I couldn't, because during that time of me not eating, my body apparently stopped getting hungry and would stop growling. It would stop wanting food. It would stop wanting me to get a drink. It would stop the normal, things of telling you, hey, I'm hungry, hey, I'm thirsty. It would stop doing that. And I didn't know why. I just felt like, all right, it's just whatever. I ignored it. I ignored the signs that there was something wrong. Eventually, it was getting close to my ex-roommate's discharge. His grandmother picked me up, took me over to the hospital to see him, because I couldn't eat, and I was getting very bored, so I eventually, wanted something different to do. But I went there, and while I was there, I talked to the nurses, and I mentioned the whole situation. They had me looked at. Turns out my body had gotten used to me not eating any food. My digestive system completely shut down. That's why when I tried to eat, once I finally did get food, I couldn't eat. I would take maybe one bite, and I couldn't swallow anymore. But apparently that was because, yeah, my digestive system had completely shut down, and they wanted me to eat small stuff very slowly, so to try and like not really jumpstart my digestive system, but to get it back up and running. And after struggling to eat ice cream or applesauce, I think it wasn't until like the next day or the day after my body was finally able to start eating things and drinking things. So, but that's that story. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I at least know when it's too much, when it's too far. Because when my body stops getting hungry, then I know that my digestive system most likely has shut down again. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I can do that to lose weight. I know what to watch out for. But again, that's only happened one time. There is no guarantee that something like that's going to happen again. There's no guarantee that the outcome that happened back then would happen again next time. So I don't know if I would be able to go and... I'm recording a video, hang on. Sorry. I don't know if the outcome would happen again. And if I did it and it did happen the same way, then at least I know how to be more careful about it. Anyways, alright, sorry about the recording. I will upload it later on tonight whenever I get a chance to get access to the internet. So, but that's just my outcome of my day. That's what happened when I was at the hospital. So, alright, adios.